and good to have you with us on Urban Debate. It's been a sensational day for India's para-athletes at the Paralympic Games. It's raining medals for India. With 7 medals so far, India has bagged 2 gold, 4 silver and 1 bronze. And so tonight we decided to start off this broadcast by talking about our heroes, those who have made us proud at the Paralympics. Bhavana Patel won the silver at singles table tennis. She actually became world number 2 ranking in 2011. In 2013, she went on to then win a silver at the Asia Para Championships. And now she has won us a silver at the Paralympics. Nishad Kumar, he won the silver medal in men's high jump T47. He jumped 2.06 meter, equaling his own Asian record. Avni Lekhara, she's won gold medal in the 10-meter air rifle shooting. Avni had sustained spinal injuries in a car accident when she was only 10 years old. But that did not stop this 19-year-old from reaching out for glory, and she's got that. In fact, in 2019, she was named India's most promising para-athlete. Devendra Jhajharia won the silver medal in javelin throw F46, broke his own world record. The throw was of 64.35 meters, and he broke that record. Sundar Singh Gurjar won the bronze medal in javelin throw F46. Before this, he's won us golds in 2017 and 2019 World Para-Athletic Championships as well. Yogesh Kathunia won the silver medal in discus throw F56. He finished second in the 2021 Para Games, won bronze in 2019 World Para-Athletics, and now that medal streak continues. The most recent one, Sumit Antil, who won a gold medal in men's javelin throw F64. And he broke another record. He's won with a world record effort now of 68.55 meters. And this is the glory we've got so far. These are the heroes that we are all celebrating today. But we also want to talk about their stories. We want to tell you a little bit about them, their inspiring stories, their path full of struggles, path full of challenges, the tough road to this point of winning a medal at the Paralympics. And we're also going to take this chance then to talk about how for India this should be a reminder that there is much to be desired to be done to make our country more friendly for the differently abled, to make it easier for them to move around, to study, to work, to travel, all of that, and how even the basics are missing from many parts in our lives. All these achievements have stories or struggles behind them that we would use to highlight. For example, the story of silver medalist Devendra Jhajharia, the javelin thrower. He lost his arm when he was 8 years old. He actually got an electric shock from a live wire, fell unconscious, and he was found lying there like that, as a result of which he lost one arm. He lost his father to cancer, had no access to gym during the pandemic, so training was a difficult task. He found the solutions, jugaad as we call it in our language. He would lift LPG cylinders as a way to work out. He used to work out with cycle tubes. We're going to talk about him a bit. And we'll also talk about Avni Lekhara, the shooter who severely injured her spinal cord in a car accident that left her wheelchair-bound at the age of 18. He found her inspiration in Abhinav Bindra's book, and look where that's got her. In fact, to talk more about this, I have Arvind Jhajharia, Devendra's brother, who's joining me, and Praveen Lekhara, Avni's father, who's with me. Let me start off with Praveen Lekhara first. Heartiest congratulations to you from the entire country right now, Mr. Lekhara. Your daughter's done everybody proud. Have you managed to speak to her? What is the first thing you both spoke about?
थैंक यू तन्वी। मैं
Okay, tricky connection there.
अवनी ने
Mr. Lekara, we
जी
lost the connection with you. हाँ, अब मैं आपको सुन सकती हूँ.
जी, तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट था अवनी के लिए। वो महीनों से हार्ड वर्क कर रही थी और उसको हार्ड वर्क का ये एक सकारात्मक परिणाम मिला और उसने आखिरकार मेडल जीता।
जी।
मैं ये भी बताना चाहूंगा कि इस मेडल में फैमिली का तो रोल है ही। फैमिली के अलावा स्पोर्ट्स अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया ने भी काफी इकोनॉमिकली और फाइनेंशियली और कोच फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट वगैरह लगा के उन्होंने भी हेल्प करी। और पैरालंपिक कमेटी ऑफ इंडिया, खास तौर से मैं दीपा मलिक मैम का बहुत आभार प्रकट करना चाहूंगा। उन्होंने फेथ रखा इसमें और अवनी को पूरे मौके दिए।
और मुझे पता चला है कि अवनी गॉट हर इंस्पिरेशन फ्रॉम अभिनव बिंद्रा
के लिए।
जी, मिस्टर लखारा, हैज शी एवर मैनेज टू स्पीक टू मिस्टर बिंद्रा? कभी मिली है उनसे, बातचीत हुई है अभी तक?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, बेंगलोर में उनसे मुलाकात हुई थी अवनी की। और अभिनव बिंद्रा सर ने उससे फोन पे भी बात की थी, मोटिवेट किया था, गाइड किया था। और मैं अभिनव बिंद्रा सर का भी बहुत थैंक यू बोलना चाहूंगा आपके चैनल के माध्यम से कि उन्होंने अवनी को मोटिवेट किया, उसको ये यकीन दिलाया कि वो मेडल जीत सकती है।
और इस अवनी का अभी जो पूरा टेन्योर है वो खत्म नहीं हुआ है। इस समय उसके माइंडसेट में क्या चल रहा है?
अवनी 4 इवेंट्स के लिए खेल रही है मैम
जी।
और 4 इवेंट्स में अभी केवल पहला इवेंट हुआ है और शी इज होपफुल कि वो आगे भी मेडल जीते। तो उसका 1 सितंबर तो वो प्रिपेयर कर रही है अपने अगले मैच के लिए।
जी, आई एम श्योर एक तरफ इतना एक्साइटमेंट और इतनी खुशी, लेकिन ये भी ध्यान में रखना, और मैंने देखा उसकी इंटरव्यू में वो ये कह रही थी कि अभी उसके और इवेंट्स हैं तो उसको उस पर भी फोकस करना है। सो शी इज़ लिविंग इन द प्रेजेंट, वन थिंग एट अ टाइम। बट मिस्टर लखारा, क्योंकि आप मेरे साथ हैं, मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहूँगी कि आप कुछ अवनी की जर्नी सो फार के बारे में कुछ ऐसा हमें बताएं जो देश को नहीं पता। वी आर टेकिंग दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी to talk about the challenges that Avni and many others face to reach this point.
अवनी का 2012 में 10-11 साल की उम्र में एक्सीडेंट हो गया। वो बिलो द वेस्ट पैरालाइज हो गई। उसके बाद वो काफी डिप्रेशन में आ गई, इंट्रोवर्ट हो गई और वो अपने आप को बड़ा हीन महसूस करने लग गई। और उसकी ऐसी स्थिति देख के मुझे बहुत दुख होता था। तो मैंने सोचा काफी कि इसके लिए क्या किया जा सकता है। तो फिर मुझे बताया गया कि इसको स्पोर्ट्स से जोड़ा जाए किसी। तो मैंने 2-3 स्पोर्ट्स ट्राई किए। फिर शूटिंग इसको थोड़ा अच्छा लगा और शूटिंग पे ये ओकेजनली जाने लगी, शूटिंग रेंज पे। और धीरे धीरे इसका इंटरेस्ट डेवलप हुआ। फिर मैंने उन दिनों अभिनव बिंद्रा सर की बायोग्राफी मुझे मिली तो मैंने वो पढ़ने के लिए दी। तो उसको पढ़ने के बाद ही इसको लगा कि मैं कुछ कर सकती हूँ अब। और वो जो ये डिप्रेशन की पोजीशन में थी, एक्सीडेंट के बाद अपने आप को बहुत कमजोर महसूस कर रही थी, वो धीरे धीरे वो एक अपने आप को कमजोर समझने की बजाय अपने आप को मजबूत बनाने में और डिटरमाइंड होके वो आगे शूटिंग करने के लिए प्रेरित हुई।
जी, और देखिए
इसमें
आपके सपोर्ट से और अभिनव बिंद्रा की गाइडेंस से एंड ऑफ कोर्स विद द लीडरशिप ऑफ दीपा मलिक एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली अवनी के खुद के डेडिकेशन और हार्डवर्क से वो आज कहाँ पहुँच गई। कंग्रेचुलेशंस टू यू मिस्टर लिखारा। उम्मीद है हम आपसे और जल्द बात करें
थैंक यू
अवनी
मैम।
के बाकी इवेंट्स के बाद। आई लेट यू गो राइट नाउ। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस
थैंक यू मैम।
on
थैंक
this
यू।
conversation, and congratulations again to you and your entire family. Let me also go across to Arvind Jhajaria, Devender's brother. अरविंद, आपकी बात हो पाई है अभी देवेंद्र से, और क्या रहा पहला बातचीत, कैसी क्या क्या बात की?
जी नमस्ते मैम। हाँ, बात हो गई थी मैम। बहुत खुश थे। सुबह इवेंट के बाद बात हुई थी, बहुत खुश थे। कह रहे थे कि मैंने एक हिस्ट्री क्रिएट किया है और इतने लंबे समय तक 20 साल तक इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे खेलते हुए, वो भी जेवलिन जो स्पीड और बैलेंस का गेम है उसमें लगातार अपना योगदान दिया और तीसरा मेडल देश के लिए लिया है। बोला बहुत बड़ी खुशी है मुझे कि मैं फर्स्ट इंडियन हूं जिसने तीसरा पदक जीता है। बहुत ज्यादा खुशी है, वो शब्दों में बयान नहीं कर पा रहे थे।
और इस बार जाते हुए उनके मन में क्या था? इस बार जब वो पैरालंपिक्स के लिए जा रहे थे, एक तो इतना मुश्किल समय सबके लिए भी रहा है, पैंडेमिक की वजह से तैयारी करना और भी मुश्किल हो गया था, तो देवेंद्र ने कैसे इसको हैंडल किया?
कोविड सिचुएशन में तो बहुत ही टफ सिचुएशन थी और खासकर खिलाड़ियों के लिए तो बहुत ही बुरा दौर था, क्योंकि जब साई सेंटर में वो कैंप्स में तैयारी कर रहे होते हैं तो सारे इक्विपमेंट और सब कुछ डाइट का सब मिलता है। अचानक से सब बंद हो गया, कैंप्स बंद हो गए, सबको अपने घरों की तरफ निकलना हो गया। अब वहाँ गांव में कोई सुविधाएं थी नहीं, कोई भी इक्विपमेंट नहीं है। अब मिनिमम इक्विपमेंट में अपने आप को फिटनेस बरकरार रखना बड़ा चैलेंजेबल था। फिर उन्होंने जैसे कभी वेट का जरूरत हुआ तो घर में जैसे गैस सिलेंडर है उसको उठा के करा। थेरावेंट्स की कुछ एक्सरसाइज की जरूरत होती है, उसके लिए उन्होंने साइकिल की ट्यूब है, टीले हैं, इस टाइप से अपने आप को, वो जो कोविड की सिचुएशन थी उसमें अपने आप को मैनेज रखा। तो
ये
बड़ा मुश्किल दौर था, बाकी
अरविंद, ये
उन्होंने
इस
अपने आप
तरीके
को
के उन्होंने
संभाला।
आइडियाज उनके खुद के आइडिया थे या किस कहाँ से उनको ये सजेशंस आए कि जब और कुछ ऑप्शंस नहीं है पैंडेमिक के दौरान तो इस तरीके से अपनी फिटनेस कंटिन्यू रखे वो?
मैम ये इन्होंने वो दौर देखा है जब 2004 में, और जब उन्होंने शुरुआत किया था तो इनके पास फेंकने के लिए भाला नहीं था। तब इन्होंने खुद एक लकड़ी का भाला बना लिया था अपना। तो उस समय में भी उन्होंने अपने खुद के आइडिया से ही काम किया था। तो इस टाइम भी में उनको यही था कि मिनिमम में, और जो परेशानियां हैं उस परेशानियों को अपन कैसे सीढ़ी बना के ऊपर जा सकते हैं। तो वो उनके खुद के आइडिया थे ताकि अपने आप को वो फिट रख सकें उस सिचुएशन में।
बिल्कुल। अरविंद, हम जो आज अपने सारे विनर्स के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, उनकी फैमिलीज से भी बात कर रहे हैं, उनके बारे में देश को बताना
जी
चाह रहे हैं, और एक उसमें मेरा और एक ये मोटिव है कि जैसे आपने कहा शुरू से ही 2003 से क्या समय था और आज हम कहाँ पहुँच गए, लेकिन आगे और बहुत करना है, और सिर्फ स्पोर्ट्समैन के लिए नहीं, पूरे देश में और जितने भी डिफरेंटली एबल्ड या स्पेशली एबल्ड है, तो एक ऐसी चीज जो आपको लगता है जहां हमें अभी और एज अ कंट्री फोकस करने की जरूरत है टू मेक लाइफ इजियर फॉर एवरीबॉडी?
मैम स्पोर्ट्स के लिए तो अभी बड़ा, मैं तो ये कहूंगा कि बहुत ही अच्छा दौर चल रहा है। सब सुविधा भी मिल रही है, सरकार की तरफ से मिल रही है। सरकार ने टॉप स्कीम चला रखी है और उस टॉप स्कीम में आपको जो भी फिटनेस ट्रेनर है, आपको फिजियो है, सब सुविधाएं मिलती हैं। और हमारे पीसीआई है, दीपा जी मैम बैठी हैं, खुद ओलंपियन है, फर्स्ट लेडी है, इनको पूरा नॉलेज है। उस हिसाब से जहां भी कैंप लगाना है, कहाँ किस खिलाड़ी को कौन से इन्वायरमेंट में वर्कआउट करवाना है, किस कोच को किसके साथ भेजना है, तो वो सब चीजें फिलहाल के दौर में मुझे लगता है बहुत ही अच्छी चल रही है। और इसका रिजल्ट अभी तो शुरू हुआ है, इसका रिजल्ट अपने को आने वाले ओलंपिक में और बेहतर दिखेगा। पिछले ओलंपिक से अपन इस बार बेटर कर रहे हैं और हमें उम्मीद है कि अब आगे वाले में हम और ज्यादा अच्छा करेंगे।
बिल्कुल नहीं, ये बिल्कुल आपने सही कहा। जब वापस आएंगे देवेंद्र तो उनके वेलकम का क्या प्लान बन चुका है अभी?
मैम अभी तो फाइनल अभी बता रहे हैं वो कि वो 2 को नाइट में दिल्ली आएंगे, तो प्लान यही रहा कि हम लोग दिल्ली जाएंगे उनको रिसीव करने के लिए।
जी।
तो अभी उसके लिए प्लान करेंगे कि कैसे उसको वहां रिसीव करेंगे, कितने बजे पहुंचेंगे वो अभी डिसाइड हुआ नहीं है, एक बार वो पूछेंगे
जी,
उनसे।
ग्रैंड
तो
वेलकम
दिल्ली
जरूर
जाके उनको
रहेगा,
हम
दिल्ली
रिसीव
में
करेंगे।
भी और वापस घर आके
जरूर
भी, आई एम
रहेगा
श्योर।
मैम, बिल्कुल रहेगा मैम। इतना बड़ा लंबा कैरियर उस उम्र को हराते हुए जो उन्होंने ये काम किया है वो वाकई काबिले तारीफ है। और वो जो यूथ है जिनके साथ वो पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, जिनके साथ वाले कोई 26 ईयर है, कोई 22 है, उस एज में आप 40 के होकर उनके साथ आप compete कर रहे हो और वहां पे मेडल ले रहे हो और अपना बेस्ट कर, अपना उन्होंने अपना रिकॉर्ड ब्रेक किया है। 63.97 को अपना रिकॉर्ड तो उन्होंने तोड़ा ही है अब की बार भी। तो हर बार वो अपना बेस्ट करते गए हैं। तो ये युवाओं को भी सीखना बहुत जरूरी है कि जेवलिन जैसा गेम भी आदमी इतना लंबा चला सकता है। तो और मैं समझता हूं कि अगर स्पोर्ट्स को किसी को देखना है तो एक बार पैरा स्पोर्ट्स को जरूर देखिए कि पैरा स्पोर्ट्स में एक खिलाड़ी को कितनी परेशानियां होती हैं और उसके पीछे कितने लोगों को खड़ा होना पड़ता है। तो वो सब देखने के बाद अगर किसी में जज्बा नहीं आता है तो फिर बड़ा मुश्किल होता है। वाकई इनको देखने के बाद लगेगा किसी को कि भी वाकई मैं भी बहुत कुछ कर सकता हूँ।
नहीं, ये आपने बहुत ही सही बात करी, बिल्कुल बढ़िया बात करी। और इसीलिए हम चाह रहे हैं कि मतलब पूरे देश को ये पता चले, इस तरीके का जज्बा has to be saluted. Thank you so much, Arvind, for speaking to us, and congratulations to you and your family also once again. I also say good evening to Deepa Malik, President of PCI. Joining me right now, Nipun Malhotra, founder for Wheels for Life, disability rights activist, and Shimon Sharif, founder for the IndianShooting.com, with me right now. Deepa Malik, first up to you, and congratulations. It's been great start and great couple of days for you and the entire contingent.
Thank you so much. And I take this opportunity to thank every Indian, Honorable Prime Minister, Sir, and our sports ministers. Everybody is sending their love and their good wishes. And this has meant a lot to the morale boosting of the contingent when they are realizing that what they are achieving becoming a medium of celebration for the entire nation. So yes, it's a moment of pride and happiness both.
Deepa, of course, it wouldn't have been an easy journey, and we all know that since 2015 there's been a larger focus and a government's special campaign as well. We've spoken to two of the families who've told us of how there's been, much attempts to create that infrastructure support, provide training, all the possible help. But the pandemic would have obviously, created challenges. And we spoke about it even during the last round of Rio Olympics as well. How did you tackle it for many of these athletes then?
Yes, that's a very good question, because when I took over as a president, it was just the same month that the pandemic broke out. For me, it was a transition from being an athlete to becoming a president, and becoming a president to a federation which was getting ready for the big games. Tokyo was round the corner, and nobody could teach me how to run a federation during a pandemic time, because these were unprecedented times. I just followed my gut feeling that this is a federation for the athletes, and that is all I need to know. And just that athlete-centric approach, which was already in the minds of the other administrators, the Secretary General, the Chief Patron, and all the mentors under whom I have also grown up in terms of being an international athlete. So it was for the athletes, by the athletes, and of the athletes now. We just focused on their mental health. That was my first concern, because it had disturbed a lot of dreams for that time. It was unpredictable. How are we going to train was the biggest question. The whole country was adapting and undergoing changes, and athletes, as it is, are quick to adapt, and people with disabilities are faster to adapt, because if they have accepted their disability and they have moved on beyond their disabilities to strengthening their abilities, then automatically, if anybody has to learn about adaptability and acceptance of change, just look at a para athlete and you will see it there. So firstly, their own self-motivation, proving themselves, their will, their self-belief helped. And what pandemic gave us was the gift of information technology, the communication that we could do. So we also adapted quickly. We switched to webinars, communication. Communication has been the key. Regular communication, creating that communication between the coach and the athlete, the administrators and the athlete, and then educating them. When they were not out there training, we used that time to make them educated about the sport, about the class, the disability, assistive aids, the rules, the regulations. One effort which I made was to translate the entire IPC regulation book into Hindi webinars, easily spoken and understand. Because 80% of my para athletes belong to rural areas, and sometimes English becomes an issue. So translating everything in Hindi, and it was very easy communication for them because they could just pick up the phone and make a call with the faith that they are talking to somebody who has played with them for last 15 years. So communication kept the mental health strong. And then the support of Sports Authority of India was immense. Also brought in sports sciences webinars, regular fitness regimes through yoga, meditation, giving devices, and so many trainers came online to teach about alternative methods of training. And I'm glad that the athletes accepted it, and accepted it well. And the times when they were inside, the shooters were doing it on a computer system where they were doing their training. Bhavina Patel was practicing with the help of a robot in a small room. So everyone adapted very easily. And like you just heard Devendra's brother telling you that if it was not a javelin, then the TheraBands and the tubes took over. So
you're saying, as a Deepa, you said Bhavina actually trained for her table tennis with a robot that was made available for this in a room.
Absolutely, and an advanced version of it, and this is where funding plays an important role.
Yeah.
And once she had that, you could clearly see. I have attended a training camp with her in 2010, and from there to watching her play, I was present for all her matches. So quickly she could take on the opponent, and I have been reading the interviews and been speaking to all the seniors from various nations, since I am a president now and I interact with the several presidents and administrators. Anybody who saw me walked up to me to say congratulations and give their blessings to Bhavina. They said to shake Chinese, and her calmness kind of created a stir in their minds and faces. Even the one who won the gold said that it wasn't an easy match for her in her interview. So this is where Indian para athletes have come now. You talk about, you see Khatunia, he has made a mark. They are not settling for fourth positions or bronzes.
Yeah.
If you now see, there are more silvers and golds than a bronze. This and the bronze is very special to me because it has come to Sundar Gurjar. He has lived with the burden of those 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Costed him a medal at Rio Paralympics, and then carry that in his heart for 5 long years, with the uncertainty whether Paralympics will ever happen or not. Whether the day he has to board a plane, he will test negative and reach there. Once he reaches here, will he stay negative till the competition? When I'm saying negative, I'm talking about the COVID test.
Yes.
These are the stories behind the medals, and this is where the history has been created. So I'm very happy, and every athlete, even those who have not made it to a medal or missed it by a little margin, they have also improved their individual performance.
Yeah, I
So
was
the
just
tra-
going to say that, what you said, Deepa. We've even, of course, in terms of medal tally, it's been the best so far for our country. But it's also how individuals are breaking their own records. How individuals are breaking world records. And I think that also goes on to say so much about their talent and the hard work that they have put in there.
Yes, and one thing which people are not realizing, maybe they have fallen in love with para sports, but they're still yet to know all the rules around para sports. For example, Sandeep Chaudhary, he has given his season's best in his own disability category, which is F44. He is the world record holder, and today also he's a world record holder. But since it was a combined category, 44 and 64 were put together. 64 are amputees using an artificial prosthetic limb. 44 are affected with polio, and they're not using an artificial limb, but they have weakness in one of the lower limbs. Despite that, he has given his season best. So if individually I see
Correct.
playing in a higher category and yet improving his skill, tremendous. We talk about Sakina Khatun. Sakina Khatun had to change because powerlifting suffered the maximum when it came to COVID pandemic. They could not go out and play in the qualifying rounds. So they had to settle for a bipartite invitation entry in which Bhavina got an option to, Sakina Khatun got an option to play in 50 kg category, which is not even her weight category. So she had to increase her body weight, which is quite a discomfort when you have been playing in a lighter weight, you gain weight and you increase the weight of your lift. Despite that, she has improved her world ranking from 6th to 5th. So it is total admiration for these athletes who have risen above every challenge, whether it is a category challenge, whether it is their pandemic challenge. I mean, this was tremendous, and they're smiling.
Yes.
They're happy to be here.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the joy and the emotions on their faces has been so heartwarming. I do request you to stay on, Deepa. I know it's a very hectic time for you, but if you can just stay with us for a bit longer. I have two more panelists, and I want to first up bring in Shimon Sharif. Shimon, adding to what Deepa was saying, it's not just about bringing the medals, which is a huge achievement, which is why perhaps we are talking so much about them today. But it's also how individually they have beaten their own records, surpassed their own performance in the toughest of the times. I mean, this would be the toughest of the times.
Absolutely. First of all, let me begin by congratulating all the medalists and to all the relatives who have joined you on the show. And having said that, fantastic job by the PCI and their expert team of coaches, support staff. I've always believed that a federation, when it's being led by someone who's been there, done that, will always make an impact on Indian sport. Deepa Malik has been one of the people who have been there, done that, won a silver in shot put. I had watched that match. I'm so proud to join her on the show today on this incredible day when somebody from my sport has won the gold. The first gold for the Indian contingent. Just fantastic performance. I was listening to how Deepa was explaining, scientific technology being used by most of these athletes tackling the pandemic period. So obviously, para sport is much more tougher to pursue, to train than from the able sports people. So this is a fantastic performance by all our para athletes. Shooters, of course, have a lot of matches going forward in the games. Avni is going to participate in 3 more events, and she's likely to win, I think, at least a medal more. She's also equally good in the 50-meter 3-position event, and that was some fantastic performance by Avni today. The shooting department of the PCI is led by experts. Mr. Nautiyar and his team of coaches are just brilliant. They've done this amazing job. I'll just like to mention in 2015, there were just about a handful of shooters, let's say about 7 to 10 parachuters. And now in 2021, we have 500 parachuters. So that's the kind of, progress the parachuting sport has made in the last 5-6 years. So my congratulations once again to PCI and Deepa Malik ji.
Yeah, in fact, and I want to now also talk about, the challenges which are there, not just for them as athletes and sports person, but challenges that exist in life just to live, in various aspects of your life. And Deepa Malik has been on many of my shows in the past also to speak about how we can make infrastructure a lot more supportive outside of the sporting institutes and training institutes. And that is what I wanted to also focus on right now, Nipun, because while much has been said about new government campaigns and a lot of things have changed, but if you look at the statistics, even now, it's less than a third of the buildings in our country which would have infrastructure or be friendly for the differently abled. Even now, over half of your railway stations have nothing to help people travel. Even now, for example, low-floor buses are probably something that you only see in the top metros, and those also far and few. So, Nipun Malhotra, it just goes on to show that for these athletes, life challenges are much bigger, not just when it comes to training for their sport, but also otherwise, something that every differently able person today faces in our country, and we don't even realize it.
No, absolutely. I would like to start off on a positive note.
Yeah.
I think the last few days have been historic for persons with disabilities in India, and I hope, and I would like to congratulate Deepa Malik and the PCI, the Sports Ministry, for everything that they have done. I would hope that this Paralympic is the 1983 Cricket World Cup moment kind of a thing for India, where challenges for persons with disabilities slowly go away. But of course, there are plenty of challenges. I also hope that it doesn't become that the media, the government and everybody else just focuses on this celebration and forgets disability again. Because I think fighting for accessibility is something that one needs to do 365 days a year, and one needs to prioritize on that every day. You spoke about accessible transportation in metros. You'll be surprised to know that even in Delhi, I actually had to fight a PL and had to go to court for 2 years to ensure that buses were accessible. Today, persons with disabilities do not get insurance. For example, a lot of wheelchairs and prosthetics of people are insured, but IRD actually prevents persons with disabilities. And IRD is the regulator, which is supposed to protect people, but it actually prevents persons with disabilities from getting insurance in that sense. Vaccination has been another big challenge for persons with disabilities, with a lot of people with disabilities petitioning for home vaccination during times of COVID in that sense. So there are plenty of challenges. And I think all these 7 people who have achieved what they've achieved it because of a lot of support from various things. I'm glad that you covered Avni's father, or Devendra's brother, because I think when a person with a disability in India excels, it's their entire family that is excelling and trying to beat the system and, challenging the system to ensure that they can have a normal, dignified life in that sense. I think this is a great opportunity. The government did something very good when they postponed the National Sports Award to after the Paralympics so that these 7 sports persons are recognized as well. And many more, of course, will win medals, hopefully. But I think change needs to happen at a young level. Disability education needs to be taught in schools. A lot of these stories are extremely inspiring stories. Why not have them in educational curriculum in schools, etc.? Change attitudes at that level. Sensitize police officers, sensitize bureaucrats, sensitize teachers. And I think it's only when sensitivity in that sense increases. And I think Deepa Malik is a good example of somebody who's a person with a disability who's leading something related to disability. We need more people with disabilities in policy level, at the policy level as well. Because, there's a famous saying in America that nothing about us without us. And I think that's shown proof in the Paralympics where a person with a disability is leading it. And we've gone up from 1 medal in 2012 to 4 in 2016 to 7 in 2020. And I think persons with disabilities need to be included at all levels in policy making. And if that is done, I think this is just a trailer of what's to come for persons with disabilities in India.
Yes, absolutely. And I want, that's why exactly why, Deepa, today we also wanted to have a conversation, because we shouldn't waste this opportunity. Since everybody is celebrating and everybody is congratulating and talking about the performance that we've seen, we should also mention that what else is needed? What else is needed to make every disabled person's life much easier in our country? A lot of it is still on paper, not in action, and I fear it's because people are not sensitized enough.
That question is to me?
Yes, no, to Deepa Malik.
Sorry.
Okay, that's very rightly said. When people often look at me and they say, "Are you a sportswoman?" and I mostly turn around and say, "No, I'm a sports activist." Whatever I have done is just an extension of my mission, Ability Beyond Disability. Whether it was driving cars in high altitude and fighting for the licenses and validation of invalid cars, or when I was driving a motorcycle and rooting for road accidents cause disability, so there should be a better safety rules around the traffic rules, etc. And because the maximum disability happens due to accidents, so road safety was behind my mind. And when I was swimming across River Yamuna, it was about give us opportunities and we have abilities. And when I drove from Chennai to Delhi, creating another record, the aim was awareness towards para sports and para policies. Having done a 5-year tenure with 5-year Planning Commission as a working group member for the policy making on disability sports, one was able to contribute to bringing it at power. And Nipun very rightly said that we are celebrating abilities of the people with disability who are winning medals for the country, but they should also be a reminder to the nation, because when an athlete in disability plays and wins a medal, it brings a lot to the table. They remind us to have better accessibility. They remind us that whenever an opportunity is given, the ability shines. So people have to create opportunities and not sympathies. We have to have inclusive mindset. And what I'm really happy about, that the current Paralympics in Tokyo, the We the 15 campaign has been launched, where we are talking about that the 15% population of the entire world suffers from some kind of disability or the other. And disability should be at the heart of inclusion. Because that is the need of an hour. Every citizen has a right to dignity and respect and live their life where they can stand on their feet. Accessibility is not just about infrastructure. Accessibility is also about mindsets. Accessibility is also about digital accessibility. So many times I have seen my visually impaired athletes not being able to log in or attend the webinars because the websites and the programs and the softwares are not accessible for people with hearing impairment or visual impairment. So it is a huge issue, and let us not wait for somebody else to do it. Mahatma Gandhi says, be the change that you want to see around you. So if you are clapping, cheering for a person with disability who's winning a medal for you, then you should also step out of your house and ensure that at least 1 square kilometer of your area should become accessible. Every citizen should take that initiative. It is a responsibility of every human to respect the other human. And I think if you work towards accessibility and respect and give dignity to people with disabilities, you will be a true patriot. You will love your country because you are giving respect to fellow citizens.
Yes, in fact, and just to highlight the point that you've made, and I think it's not just the responsibility of the governments, it's also the responsibility of the society, of individuals as well. You were mentioning global statistics, Deepa. I think in India, according to the World Bank, 1 in every 12 households has a person who's living with a disability. That is, yet if you see the other side of the statistics, even in the campaign, the government campaign of Accessible India campaign, only 30% of the buildings that were identified have so far been made accessible for the disabled. If you look at railway stations, only 50% of the railway stations would have a standard ramp. When it comes to most of our residential societies, I don't think any of us even stop to think what's the access for the disabled. In fact, Nipun Malhotra, still, I would say, and maybe if I'm wrong, you can correct me, a lot of our work goes as token gesture, token work, that during elections or during a vaccination drive, let's have that one booth which is accessible to the disabled, and that's that, and we've done our job.
I completely agree with you. And even when you're mentioning this 29% statistic, the Access India campaign only aimed at making 50 buildings in 50 cities accessible. So it's not 29% of public buildings all over the country accessible.
Of those that were identified, absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. And apart from that, the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, by the way, actually says that each and every building has to be accessible and it has to follow the harmonized guidelines which the Ministry of Urban Development issued. Unfortunately, and I'm not criticizing any political party here because I think all political parties are to blame, not a single state government throughout the country has actually changed the building bylaws to incorporate accessibility in that sense. And I completely agree with you on tokenism too. And when it comes to tokenism, I think this is something that everybody needs to realize, not just politicians, but businessmen, journalists, and every citizen of this country, that at the end of the day, we all are temporarily able-bodied. If somebody gets a fracture on the leg, they'll be on a wheelchair and they'll be as restricted as, say, Deepa or IR, or somebody can get a permanent injury and become permanently disabled in that sense too. Apart from that, we also always, often celebrate India as having a young demography, but India also has one of the fastest growing aging populations in the world. And the more elderly you get, again, you'll have the similar challenges as persons with disabilities, where accessibility becomes a challenge. So if you're looking at accessibility and if you're fighting for accessibility, you're not just fighting for that 1 in 12 data that you said, but you're actually fighting for everybody, because everybody at some stage in their life or the other will become a person with a disability, either temporary or permanent.
You make a fine point, and I sense that it's also to make it a lot more, to ensure that it hit homes harder to more people, and maybe that will bring about a change. But it shouldn't be, even if it is for 1% people or 10% people or 50% or all 100%. These facilities, these basic rights have to be there for every individual. Deepa Malik, we do have a Disabilities Act. But where do we fail? It ensures that everybody should have those rights, but where do we fail in implementation of it?
I think we just, it's become a story of chicken and egg. Which will come first? Will more of us start coming out, and then people will remember that, accessibility is required, or we wait for first the infrastructure to become accessible and then we step out? I would say that take initiative. When more of us are coming out, when more of us are speaking, Nipun is speaking about it, I'm speaking about it. Tomorrow, all these 54 para-athletes have knowingly, unknowingly become ambassadors of inclusion, diversity, and accessibility. So when more of us will come out, when more of us will get into leadership roles, I think the difference is going to be made. For example, just one tweet, I landed here and I was taken very dignifiedly in a very accessible van with a nice, simple technology added to the seat. And I just tweeted to the motorsports fraternity and automobile industry. And I said, you give me the technology, I have empowered myself enough to buy your vehicle. Yeah. And I got a response from Anand Mahindra ji from another brand, MG. MG is gifting one to Bhavina, and Anand Mahindra ji is promised to make all the attachments and challenges research team to create an accessible vehicle for Avni Lekra. So this is how the change is going to start. We all have to contribute to the change in our own little way. Whatever you feel is your way of contributing, please come out and contribute. Together, वो कहते हैं ना बूंद बूंद से सागर भरता है, तो हमें वो process start करना पड़ेगा. We can't wait for the change. We have to become the change.
And we can't stop after one step or one win and one small change that we bring. We have to constantly do that. We have to constantly have these constructive conversations, bring you all to speak about it, to share your experiences, to tell the inspiring stories of our para athletes and what they've achieved, but also simultaneously highlight how they've reached here and the challenges that perhaps needn't have been there if only we had made the environment a lot more easier for them. Thank you so much, Nipun Malhotra and Deepa Malik, for joining me on this conversation. Big congratulations again to all of the para athletes and to Deepa Malik as well. So let's take this opportunity, viewers. Let's look at the story of our para athletes who won today. Let's look at the story of an Avni or a Devinder or a Sumit, and see how at every stage they have not just battled all the odds, beat all the odds as an athlete and a sports person, but in every part of their life because of their disabilities. And how can we make it easier not just for them, but every other such person in our country? Are our buildings, are our schools, are our offices, is our transport system, are our malls and theatres and restaurants, are our educational institutes, workplaces, offices employing them, government, private sector, all of them, even thinking about it and making plans which are a lot more inclusive. That's the point I wanted to make. Thank you so much for joining us.